Hello, people of the internet, and welcome to another episode of Kaiju's Corner. Here with me is my trusty and loyal co-host, Mr. Deadpoolzilla.
Hello, people of the internet. My name is Deadpoolzilla, and I'm here with my trusty partner, Kaiju Noir.
Wait a minute, are we in some sort of parallel universe now? What sort of madness is this? Is this a world?
This is my show too, bitch.
Is this like an episode of is this like Planet of the Apes where Kaiju Noir is the lackey and Deadpoolzilla's the popular one?
It'd be more like the mirror universe from Star Trek.
Although technically you are more popular than me, with more than twice the amount of subscribers that I have. Which has always been the case from the beginning. So my apologies there. So anyways, this was a topic that you approached me with, and so how would you like to take things over for this episode?
Well, I'm taking over because you have no interest in this.
Not really. I just saw the trailer right now, and I was like, wow, I didn't think my expectations could be brought any lower, but it did.
Yeah. So, let me ask you, Andreas, do you like the Universal monsters?
Yes, I do. I like them for the most part. They're a lot of fun. I actually grew up watching them almost every Halloween on Turner what was it, TMC? Was it TMC?
Yeah, they still play still play that.
Yeah. What did TMC stood for?
Turner Classic Movies.
Okay. Oh, was it TCM? TCM.
Yeah, TCM.
Yeah, TCM. Sorry, not TMC. Yeah, TCM. Turner Classic Movies. They would show a bunch of old school horror movies every Halloween. That's how I was able to watch movies like The Crawling Eye, Gamera, The Invincible. I'm pretty sure I saw a Godzilla movie here and there, and of course I did remember watching a lot of the Universal monster movies back in those days. So I do have a lot of love and nostalgia for them. And I think pretty much Frankenstein and Creature from the Black Lagoon were the two movies I was always the most fascinated with. Going so far as to even read the original Mary Shelley's Frankenstein back in middle school, I believe, along with Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Okay. Let me ask you, Andreas, would you want to see that universe brought back?
Yes. I mean, I feel like I'm one of the few people on Earth who actually, honest to God, enjoys Van Helsing. And so seeing those kinds of those type of characters being brought into into a modern big budget action movie that's really fun, wacky, over the top, and has that old school gothic cathedral type of style that would make Tim Burton jizz his pants. But for what we've seen here is that we've got Universal attempting to recreate that Universal horror movie universe, because obviously cinematic universes have become the trend now, and really they've been having a really hard time trying to get this universe off the ground. And so we got this latest movie with a Tom Cruise Mummy movie coming out this year, and so far it really looks like they're trying to dig into all the I can't believe it, but now it's become a cliche for all this universe setup, where it's you have no idea what you're into. This is a world much bigger than you can possibly imagine. And I'm like, wow, I've really seen this all before. It's essentially, it's Monarch, it's S.H.I.E.L.D., it's what do you call it? It's Oscorp from The Amazing Spider-Man. It's nothing in these trailers really seemed to captivate my interest, because as interesting as The Mummy could be, it doesn't really feel unique enough for it to stand out from the bunch. I don't know. What has your reaction been to the Universal to this crazy attempt?
It's just a modern take on the what is it, the movies from the early 2000s.
Yeah, but I feel like at
what
least
they tried to.
I feel like at least the Brendan Fraser Mummy movies at least had some personality to them.
Yeah, but people are complaining, oh, it's just a dumb action movie with some horror in it. And they were like, where's the Brendan Fraser movies? I was like, motherfucker, do you know what movie you watched?
Yeah, but especially when I see The Mummy, it's the biggest twist in the whole movie is she's a girl now, and she wants to fuck Tom Cruise real badly. This whole movie is her, apparently, just going by the trailers alone, it's just her desperately trying to get into Tom Cruise's pants so she can become the most powerful being in the universe. Why this particular mummy out of thousands in history, I have no idea. But it's like, really, that's the best you can come up with?
Trying to fuck Tom Cruise is an admirable goal, Andreas. You need to understand that.
Yeah, yeah. But then again, you talk to, what was her name, Katie Holmes? Talk to her and you'll know that it's not all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah.
But that's going to personal business.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So, I have like medium expectations because they tried this before with Dracula Untold, and we all know how that went.
I don't even know how it went because it came and went, and nobody really cared as far as I knew.
Well, Dracula Untold was their first attempt at making a new Universal MonsterVerse, and here's the funny thing: Universal was one of the first people to actually do the whole shared universe.
Right.
So
they did
the fact that
Frankenstein versus was it Frankenstein meets the Wolfman or
that's
meets the Wolfman?
Frankenstein meets the Wolfman.
Yeah, okay. And then that later paved the way for House of Frankenstein, House of Dracula, Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein, yada yada yada.
Yeah. So the fact that we have they've done this before and now they're trying to do it again, but try to update it is, it's admirable, but I feel like they're going the wrong way about it. And keep in mind, this is also, they're releasing it at the same time of the 85th anniversary of the original Boris Karloff mummy.
Uh-huh.
But like I said, I have mediocre expectations because I want to see this. I'm interested into this universe of where it's going to go and bringing back these monsters. That's the big thing here, is that I want to see these other monsters come to life, especially one in particular.
And who would that be?
I want to see a new version of the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Me too. I do want to see a new version of the creature from the Black Lagoon, and even in that new teaser, you see his severed arm in like this glass jar, and it kind of looks strikingly almost exactly like the original design of the original suit. So maybe it's going to be like, if they ever do a modern take on the creature from the Black Lagoon, they can say, oh, the older species used to look like the classic version. Now this new species is more feral and more larger and more intimidating. But who knows what's going to happen with that. I like you. The only thing I'm interested in is seeing how exactly these characters how their designs would be updated for the modern age. However, after looking at the Enchantress 2.0, I've now become less excited as to how these creatures are going to look like, what these creatures are going to look like. I will say...
Yeah. What's also really depressing, by the way, is that you know what actually did the Universal Monsters actual justice?
And what was that?
What was that? Oh yeah, Penny Dreadful. Go watch Penny Dreadful, and it is everything you wanted this movie universe to be. It's a horror series, but it still feels like an action supernatural show.
Oh, so that's a TV show?
Well, it was. It was on HBO before it got canceled after 3 seasons.
Oh, okay. Another show that utilizes the similar themes and characters was the 2015 film Victor Frankenstein. That was directed by Paul McGuigan and written by Max Landis. And I recently got a chance to see Victor Frankenstein, and I actually thought, had this movie been made by Universal instead of 20th Century Fox, this would have been a decent movie to launch a Universal movie series around it. In fact, part of me was kind of confused as to there were so many Frankenstein. It feels like there are so many Frankenstein movies going around Hollywood. Is like, are any of these related to Universal and their cinematic universe? Because there was like Victor Frankenstein, I, Frankenstein, and I'm pretty sure there's like another Frankenstein in development. But I saw Victor Frankenstein, and if any movie wants to capture, if you really want to capture the look and feel of the original Universal horror movies and be able to make it like distinct from the rest of the action movies nowadays, I feel like Victor Frankenstein had the right idea. In my opinion, I know it's gotten a mixed reaction from most people, but I feel like while it's not a movie that will blow you away, I thought it was a decent and all-around fun, entertaining movie with the right amount
Yeah, I know.
of.
I've seen the movie.
Okay, yeah, yeah. But for the audience, it's something that I would recommend to Universal horror fans to check out Victor Frankenstein. However, I look at The Mummy, and it seems to not go in a sort of unique direction that Victor Frankenstein did. Or not even like, Victor Frankenstein was more of a retro direction. And I feel like retro's the best decision you could possibly go in, because it's almost kind of like what I like to call the Tetsujin effect, where Tetsujin is like this old school anime robot, people in America know as Gigantor, and amongst all these robots, Tetsujin himself looks so retro. It helps him stand out from the bunch, and so I feel like if you went in a retro direction in terms of like the design, the aesthetic, the look and feel of these movies, it'll help you stand out from all the other generic action movies. However, going, it looks like The Mummy is going in that generic action movie route, to where nothing, there's nothing here that I haven't seen in a bunch of other movies, honestly.
Yeah. I just wanted to do well so I can get the other monsters, and maybe in different hands we can, we can get like something unique. Because I have a feeling, yeah, they want to try something different with each film.
Mm-hmm. But it feels like they're trying. It feels like they are trying to do something different, because they seem to have no clue or no direction, no vision, no leadership in terms of like getting these movies off the ground. It's just like we'll throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. It's like we try with Dracula Untold. Obviously that didn't work, so let's scrap the whole thing and start all over again. I'm pretty sure if The Mummy doesn't work, they'll try to scrap the whole thing and start all over again.
Well, that's kind of the thing, is that here's the fun part, is that I don't know how true this is, but The Mummy was already in the making, but at the same time when Dracula Untold folded, they instantly went, no, 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 that's not the start of this universe. The Mummy is the start of this universe. Quick, fix it, quick.
Might as well just bring Hugh Jackman back as Van Helsing, and maybe you'll get some people to say, oh yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so, Andreas, what are some other creatures, and what are some of the directions you'd like to take in the Universal Monsterverse?
Let's see. I feel like I would really like to go to the past. Because, I don't know, it feels like if you go to the past, you're able to get away from your generic, what do you call them, crossfire, like, gun-toting action scenes, no car chases, no, like, planes exploding. I feel like if you went to the past, you are able to get away from a lot of cliche action tropes, and you're able to come up with a more interesting, maybe even try to go into a more steampunky direction with...
Well, they tried that with Joe Johnston tried that with the Wolfman, and it didn't turn out well.
I guess so. To be honest, I never saw The Wolfman. And honestly, when The Wolfman came out, I thought they were trying to start remaking all those movies again with The Wolfman. But how old is the Wolfman now? Like 20? Was that 2009? I think it was in high school when that happened, when that came out.
Yeah, I think it's 2009 or 10.
Yeah, yeah. I remember, like, I think it was like just around the time I just started following Zazubar's channel. And I remember he made his video on that. So, man. You're right. They have tried the past, and of course they even went further into the past with Dracula Untold, and neither movie worked, so I doubt that the producers would want to go to the past.
Here's the thing. Here is the problem.
Uh-huh.
And this is I'm putting it bluntly.
Mm-hmm.
They're not scary the Universal monsters aren't scary anymore. That's the sad part, is that, there's nothing you can do to make these creatures scary anymore, and that's really sad, because there was a point where they were like the Halcyon of terror, and it's kind of sad, too, because no one's going to look at the Wolfman or the Frankenstein monster and go, oh, that's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not going to happen, so the only way you can do it is go by an action route.
I'm not sure because I feel like you would still make someone like Frankenstein of all people of all monsters scary. Because I remember reading the original book and reading Mary Shelley's description of how utterly horrified Victor Frankenstein was when the monster came to life. He's like, "Oh dear God, it was a bad mistake. This thing shouldn't be alive. It's so horrible, so horrifying that he just like booked it as soon as the monster started getting up and started walking." Uh, I feel like if you could completely redesign Frankenstein from the ground up, maybe it'll make him like a very perfect, strong-built human being and just make him this grotesque, horrific homunculi of an abomination. Maybe it's like if you were to redesign these characters to where you move them away from the classic design and design them into a more horrifying, mentally scarring design as well.
Yeah, that could work as well. But yeah, there's so many creatures you could use and do some cool horror stuff, especially one in particular, the Invisible Man.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see something like that again. Another one I think I can think of is Hunchback of Notre Dame, if they ever want to do that character, because it's a very identifiable character. He's not so much a monster; he's just a person born with a very horrific and sad birth defect, and I think like it doesn't matter what era. Maybe it's like a story you could tell in any sort of time period where people shun you based on your appearance, and it's that appearance that makes you kind of go off the edge, and maybe people who try to help you out, even they get punished as a result of them trying to have sympathy towards you.
Yeah. The other thing is that I think Frankenstein, no matter what era you put it in, it works. Like, you could do a modern-day Frankenstein story because,
scientists are always trying to push boundaries, and it makes more sense to bring a person to life in the future than you would be in the past.
You know what would actually be a cool angle to go with a new Frankenstein movie? Have what you can do is have that Victor Frankenstein did bring the monster back to life. Uh-huh. That was an actual thing. Uh-huh. It happened, and everyone knows it happened. Uh-huh. And now, for centuries, people have been trying to replicate it. Like, people have been just trying to make it. And what they didn't know is that the monster's been wandering around, and he's been kind of keeping his eye on this new group of scientists who are like very close to cracking the code to create another version of him. And the monster's like, I'm not letting that happen. So he breaks their facility and just starts killing them, Jason Voorhees style.
Okay, so you essentially turn him into like an anti-hero of sorts.
Well, yeah, but the other thing is that he's not trying to warn them, don't do this. It's more like, they're going to do it. They're scientists. They can't help themselves. I have to kill these people, or they're going to make they're going to make another me, and I can't let another creation like me exist because what if it doesn't share my, need to be alone? And two, I can't let it go through the hell I've gone through for centuries.
Yeah. I mean, when was the last time we had a smart Frankenstein besides Van Helsing?
Well, that and I, Frankenstein, but
that was a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to see a smart Frankenstein this time around. We did had an interesting take with Victor Frankenstein where it was like this kind of brain-dead creature it was just a moving, functioning body that reacted like an animal and had no real, like, soul whatsoever, no sort of sense of humanity within it. It was just a reactionary thing, living, breathing thing. And of course, that was a movie that focused more on Victor, anyways, and his reaction towards creating something that that was technically living, but wasn't really life in his eyes. So
yeah, but I think it'd be I think it'd be really cool to go with that route of making the monster, because I would want people to question, is he doing it for the right reasons? Is the monster? Are we supposed to root for the monster? He's brutally killing these people, but at the same time, it goes into the whole thing of God and man, and what happens with the whole thing between God and his creation. What if God could, man could create something like God, or what if the creation could surpass the creator, or what if the creator is disappointed with his creation? I would really love to play with all those kind of angles in this, because no one's really done it in the longest time.
Right.
I don't think the closest Frankenstein movie that I could think of that came close to doing that was Kenneth Branagh's movie.
I see.
That was trying to be like the novel. Have you seen that one?
Unfortunately, I have not.
But yeah, the whole thing is, I would love to have that it's some secure facility, like you could have it in Prodigium, the shield of this universe. And have it that this facility is coming close to cracking the Frankenstein code. And the monster's like, fuck that, I ain't letting these people make another me.
It's like,
So
even I hate myself.
Yeah, the monster pretty much does. So have the monster just go around brutally just murdering these people, and have it that, leave it to the audience. Whose side are you on? Is the monster right, or are the people right?
Right, and maybe you can end things in a very climactic battle between old Frankenstein and new Frankenstein monster.
Yeah. And the best thing is, I don't think you need, like, a big-name actor for the I just think you need a big actor. Not a big name, but a, physically imposing actor.
Yeah, you can do that. I mean, for all we know, since we have so many movies with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, you could have him be Frankenstein.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, you just need a very, physically large actor. Someone who's done, have someone who played Darth Vader in Rogue One, did the body for Darth Vader, and have him be Frankenstein.
Oh, okay, so you're asking for, a body actor and a voice actor.
Yeah, you could actually have, with the CGI that's been going on now, you can honestly just have Andy Serkis play the monster.
Okay, that'd be an interesting idea. Yeah, I can see that working. And so, are there any other characters that you would like to see, or any other characters you have an idea for a potential Universal Cinematic Universe take on this movie, on the character?
Well, like I was saying with Creature from the Black Lagoon, I think it would be cool, just to make it a straight up, kind of like Predator in a way, where you have a squad of soldiers or mercenaries going into the Amazon, and again, you could use Prodigium, and you could have them just on this hunt for the creature from the Gill Man, and the Gill Man's like, "You're not taking me out of here."
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be it in a nutshell. It's just, again, I know it sounds like Predator, but that would be a cool way to go with it.
Swamp Predator.
Yeah. The Invisible Man, I think, with Hollow Man, that was kind of the pseudo-remake to...
Right.
But yeah, you could do a lot of cool stuff with, especially now with technology. You could have it, you could play with heat, with heat-seeking cameras, thermal imaging. There's a lot of cool shit you could play with in this.
Although you would have to get around the fact that the Invisible Man is essentially running around naked, so they have to probably address how exactly he's able to survive the elements and not be bleeding everywhere.
Well, the thing is that even they addressed it in the original film, is that he had to be careful.
Yeah.
So I would imagine, just write something smart, I have to be very careful where I attack because I could let myself get seen.
Yeah. Would you like to have an Invisible Man movie told from the perspective of the Invisible Man, or by some other people?
I think it would be cool. You would have it that it's an experiment going on, and it's a rare plant they're testing themselves on for. They think that using this plant is going to give people a self-healing factor or something like that. But what they don't realize is, oh god, it's making me invisible. And what the other side effect, much like in the original film, is that it's causing of course the Invisible Man's name is Dr. Jack Griffin. So have the new Griffin be it's causing his adrenaline to go overboard. So much like with Darkman, it's basically making his adrenaline overboard. So not only is he, open up to anger more often, he's actually like stronger physically and more durable.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, Invisible Dark Man. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. There's your premise right there. Give us money, Hollywood. We'll whip up this. We'll whip up the script in like 2 days.
Yeah. Why aren't we making movies? Shit, like everything I am saying, and I don't want
Because
like,
Hollywood is elitist.
The Wolfman. The Wolfman. You could put have it that the actually, it would be a cool angle to do with the new Wolfman. Have it that you had Lawrence Talbot, Larry Talbot in the past. Like that was a werewolf. He died, but they covered up his death, saying, "Oh, he was killed by a wolf or a mugger." And the werewolf curse has passed through Talbot to Talbot, and we have a completely new member of the House of Talbot.
Okay.
So yeah, just have it like it's been a generation of wolfmen or wolf women.
Now, do you think that they'll be able to carry on the cursed protagonist route when they're already doing that with Tom Cruise's character for The Mummy? You think Universal will be willing to do 2 cursed individuals?
I think it's more like a life source thing with him and The Mummy, with Tom Cruise's character in The Mummy. Which actually, now that I think about it, does this movie feel a lot like Life Force?
Let's see, which one was Life Force?
That Tobe Hooper movie with the space vampires?
I don't remember that one.
Do yourself a favor, go check it out. It's actually pretty fucking good.
Let's see, what year was that movie?
89, I want to say.
Okay. 1 word or 2 words?
Life Force, it's all 1 word.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the recommendation. Alright. So, let's see. What would be, like, what's another character we haven't mentioned before? Because usually, like, Frankenstein... we haven't talked about Dracula, have we?
Nope, we have not.
So what would you do with Dracula?
And this is going to sound really weird. I'd make him kind of like Captain America. Well, let me explain. I'd have it that Dracula is woken up in the modern times, and now he's completely out of time, and I would even have it that his species is endangered. Like, vampires have been hunted to near extinction, and his body's been found by either, dumb treasure hunters or followers, and now he's like, what happened? He's like, I've been gone for centuries, and now my kind is like literally near the end of its rope.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's now just kind of like, what do I do? I'm trying to save my kind, and yet I'm being hunted by all these people, by humanity, who, for lack of a better word, is not so great. Yeah. You could even have it like he looks back on Romania, and because Romania has been kind of going through some stuff economically lately, so you could have him go back and look at his homeland and be like, what happened?
Oh yeah, a whole lot of stuff going on in the Eastern European region.
Yeah. Even like I would even have it that he despises the Bram Stoker novel.
Oh really? So you want to bring that into like a meta fiction sort of thing, where it's like the real thing was inspired, like the novels exist in this universe, but they were inspired by real stories.
Yeah, like I would have it that Dracula died canonically in 1897, but now he's back, and he finds out the book's there, because in this I would have it that Bram Stoker was like a amateur vampire hunter, and like he was Van Helsing's apprentice.
Okay.
And he reads the book. He reads the book and he's like, this is bullshit. This is all bullshit. Because I'd even have it that, Mina wanted to be with Dracula. Jonathan Harker was an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, Dracula was no saint, but she made her choice to go with him. And there's like a ton of things changed in the book that he knows are total bullshit, and he is just livid.
Mm-hmm. Now, would you make this version of Dracula Vlad the Impaler?
Yeah, I kind of would
Okay.
because I like that.
So you want him to keep him like have him have essentially this kind somewhat of the same origin that they also went with um Dracula Untold.
Yeah, and the Coppola film.
Right, right. Okay, okay.
Yeah. I would have like yeah he like I would just have like a quick moment yeah he was Vlad the Impaler here's a little brief origin here here's him being betrayed by his by his allies and going to be sent to death now he's a vampire boom here's your movie.
Okay then. So would you make him the protagonist or the antagonist? Because like my idea was because they seem to be going into a generic route. My prediction is that when they put all these movies together, I'm predicting that they're going to try to set up Dracula as like the Loki of the eventual crossover movie, which for all we know, they could call it like House of Dracula or whatever. And so they'll have all the monsters trying to team up to fight Dracula to save the world. And by the end, we'll have Tom Cruise become a mummy, have mummy powers. Because he's Tom Cruise, and they need him for marquee value.
Yeah, I'd make him more protagonist. See,
Okay.
here's the thing. I kind of don't want like a big crossover film with this. I mean,
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't mind a remake of Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, but I wouldn't make like a big Avengers type movie because like like with all these monsters together, I'd make it hokey.
And
But here's a way
it'd be
you could
kind of
what
weird to put them all together because all these characters are all like kind of are all rogues who are very unpredictable and would always be going off in their own directions. At least with superheroes, they all have a common goal of, doing good things.
well, here's actually how you could do all these monsters together and have them all fight side by side in a way. You have like maybe you could have it that Prodigium has been locking them up in like a supermax monster prison, and
Uh-huh.
they all break out. So make it like Arkham Asylum, but with the Universal monsters.
Hmm. Okay, so yeah, I can see that. Like you have them all imprisoned. So maybe you would turn into like a heist movie,
Well, it'd be more like
like
they've broken
or
out and now they've taken over the prison.
sorry, I meant a prison break movie. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah. And now you have this strike team from Prodigium go into the prison to try to like stop them, but they're like, "Oh, they all got out."
Mm-hmm.
um but yeah. That would actually be like the best way rather than have them be like try to be the superhero route. Have them be like, "No, they're the bad guys. They're supposed to kill people, so let them all be the bad guys."
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Now, however, like, what do you think would be like kind of the worst possible, um, the worst possible result out of this? Like, or what are you hoping they will not do that they most
I'm
likely might do?
Make them all into a superhero team. That's what I'm afraid of. Um,
So
and yeah, I don't.
you don't want them to pull a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Actually, we haven't talked about one monster, and I can't believe we forgot her, the Bride of Frankenstein.
That would be a very interesting story, especially
Well,
in terms of what direction they want to take her, because the classic version was feral, which was like meant to be like the opposite of what the smart Frankenstein was in that movie. Uh, so
um,
it's really like
actually,
how they pull her off is really going to depend on how they pull Frankenstein off.
well, actually, if we, going by my stuff, like all the stuff we've been talking about, how
Yeah.
about have it like when I was going back to my Frankenstein idea, have it that they manage to bring the monster to life, and it's the Bride of Frankenstein, and she gets her own movie.
Okay, so then they're gonna do the whole thing with the mummy, where it's like, oh, let's make the girl first to catch everybody off guard.
Well, like I said, the Frankenstein monster would be out there, and then and then
Okay.
it's a female. Yeah, like he's the one killing everyone, but they manage to make their own monster,
Okay.
and the
Yeah.
Frankenstein
Yeah.
and the original monster's like, oh my god, they did it, and it's a woman. How am I supposed to feel about this?
Where are these feelings down in my loins?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you can do that. Yeah, yeah, that would be something I would like to see.
Yeah, like then you got your built-in sequel and own spin-off movie for Bride of Frankenstein. You could either do it that it's the both monsters learning to survive together, or the female monster going off on her own.
Yeah, yeah, you can do that, and it'll be interesting to see them like travel the world and interact with trying to interact with the world and seeing how that pans out. Yeah, yeah, I'd like to see that. Uh, Now, what do you think they'll eventually do with Mr. Hyde? Because we already know they have Dr. Jekyll, but what about Mr. Hyde? It looks like he's already experienced his Mr. Hyde transformation because he's like, in order to fight a monster, you must become a monster. You must use monsters to fight monsters, or something we've already heard in Pacific Rim. So it's like they're really hinting at the Mr. Hyde in those trailers.
Oh no, he's gonna be in the movie.
Yeah, yeah, which is why I'm wondering how they're gonna pull him off. It's like, are they gonna turn him into a
Well,
Hulk like they did with?
they kind of spoiled it.
Oh, okay. What happened?
In a featurette, there's a quick moment between him and Tom Cruise, and he's like, "There's never been a man like me," and it's just Russell Crowe with yellow eyes and looking very sweaty.
Right, but that could be like the beginning of the transformation, like how when Bruce Banner has green eyes before and also sweaty before transforming.
Mm.
Now, do you think they'll make Mr. Hyde into a Hulk-like creature from League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, or you think they'll turn him into like a rabbit crazy 28 Days Later type of zombie creature where he's just super athletic, or he'll just be the same just with a wild, deranged personality? And
I think it's
yeah.
well, I like the whole Hulk thing because Hulk fan.
Uh-huh.
I think
And they're obviously going to try to copy the Avengers, so they're gonna have a Hulk of their own.
Yeah, but I think like the smart route would be just make him more deranged, and Russell Crowe is a good enough actor to play those kind of dual roles. While I personally would have gone the route of maybe make Mr. Hyde a completely different actor.
Okay.
Like they're literally they look like two different people. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And would you? I know outside of the Hulk powers, would you want to give him any sort of superhuman abilities?
Maybe just like he's an enhanced human, like something like just enhanced, like not like Hulk strength, but enhanced strength and agility. Like it's almost. You ever watch BBC's series Jekyll?
No, I never did.
It just kind of go like that, where he's more like this apex predator kind of thing.
Would you give him the intelligence, like the kind of like a crafty, smarmy, egotistical type of personality from the book?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
Like
and not just again Hulk, just have him a
and not like
monster.
He's conflicted, huh?
You're not gonna just make him like an animalistic monster.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I would make him more like he's just an asshole.
Right.
And I wouldn't like have it that he's evil per se. He's more like what Jekyll intended to make Mr. Hyde, in that he's more like indifferent and aloof to good and evil. Like he does what he's the ultimate version of man's inner inhibitions.
Uh-huh. Okay then. Yeah.
But yeah, he would not be above, killing people.
Right,
just
right.
for the hell of it.
Uh-huh. Okay, then. Let's see, anyone else that we haven't covered at this point? We talked about Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman, Gillman, Hunchback,
The
Dr.
Phantom?
Jekyll. Phantom of the Opera. That'd be a good
But at the same time, it's more like everyone would be why isn't it the musical?
And
Because let's face it,
yeah.
the musical's kind of overshadowed it, so I don't think that's going to happen.
Although he's a character that's specifically catered to... Has he ever been featured in any story outside of his damn opera house? Probably not, huh? You there? Let's see. I can't hear you.
Okay, I can hear
Okay,
you
now
now.
I can hear you. Okay. All right then. So my question was, has there ever been a story of the Phantom of the Opera where that featured the Phantom himself outside of his opera house?
There was the sequel to the musical that had him go to the Caribbean for some fucking reason.
What was he doing there?
I don't know, trying to get laid with in the Caribbean. I never watched it.
Fascinating. Uh, let's see. And he doesn't even have any superpowers for this like action focused, action heavy take on the
But
cinematic universe. So what would you do with him?
I think like it would be a cool way is kind of make him like do something like the Prestige and make him like people think he's magic, but really he's just a really good illusionist.
Okay, I see. So he plays mind games, tricks of the mind, you could say.
Yeah, like I would have it that he's kind of like Mysterio mixed with Jigsaw.
Hmm. And would you go with the Lon Chaney face, or would you go with the handsome man but with the white mask covering half his face?
I'm torn between the two, honestly.
Because if you try to do the man with half his face covered, you could have him be more civilized, more adjusted to society, and then if you have him with his monster face, a full monster face, then you would have a character who is obviously going to have to grow up and be raised differently, and would be more villainous as opposed to the uh, slightly deranged individual with the half white mask.
Yeah. Um, I guess like full mask would probably be the best route, but knowing Hollywood and how people know the musical more than the actual novel,
Uh-huh.
it would probably be half face.
Okay.
Like realistically, it would be half.
And how would you handle the white mask? Do you think you would expect him to walk around in public with that white mask?
No, I'd have it more like he's
Oh,
keeps the shadows and wears it more for like dramatic flair.
okay, maybe he would wear just a simple eye patch or those medical eye patches.
Yeah. Honestly, you know, it'd be a cool idea with this is just have it that he's the like going back to the whole monster breakout idea. Have
Uh-huh.
it that he's the one who breaks out all the monsters.
Interesting. And he is an illusionist, so he is someone who could, like, I don't know, pull some magic tricks out of nowhere to fool the security and guards.
Yeah. Be an excellent escape artist. Houdini, Mysterio, and Jigsaw all put together.
Yeah, yeah. That would be quite a, how would you call it, team effort there.
Yeah.
All right, then. Let's see, anyone else?
I think that's really it for the classic monsters.
Yeah, yeah. Um, let's see. Just wondering, have there been any other modern takes on these characters besides the ones we've already mentioned from the 90s and 2000s?
Come again?
Are there any other like modern? Have there been other modern takes on the Universal character monster characters, besides the ones we've already mentioned?
Outside of Invisible Man and its pseudo remake Hollow Man, not much.
Yeah, that's true. So, is there any other final words you would like to say before we start to wrap things up?
Please let this movie The Mummy make money so we can get some interesting ideas with these monster movies, but at the same time I'm like, I just want Universal Monsters back. That's all I want.
Uh-huh. And I'm saying please be good so that I can eventually watch it on an airplane on my next trip to G-Fest. Because I'm certainly not going to watch it in theaters. Although knowing my luck, either way, that movie's probably going to come out in Japan like maybe 4 or 5 months down the line. Yeah, so who knows how this is going to go down, but in the end, all we can hope for is a good movie and that we can all enjoy. So, where can people find you, Deadpoolzilla?
On my channel or sometimes on Geekvolution.
And you can find me, of course, here on the Kaiju Noir channel, as well as Zazabar's channel, and be on the lookout for future reviews coming. I know I keep saying that, but trust me, I'm pretty sure they'll be worth the wait. And by the time this video goes up, my review for my friend Denny Roth's webcomic series, Marshall Star, my review for the first chapter of that webcomic will be up and about on my YouTube channel, so please check that out. It's kind of like the first scripted video I've made in a while since my Gundam video, so I gotta say, going back into scripted stuff, shorter scripted videos as opposed to podcast stuff, it felt really good getting back into the swing of things. So hopefully that will be just the first of more scripted content to come. So anyways, I have been Andres Perez, aka Kaiju Noir.
And I have been Deadpoolzilla.
And until next time, everybody, take care.